You're seeing firsthand what it looks like to make a final approach to land on runway 28 right at San Francisco International Airport after a recent rainstorm. Notice the puddles of water along the runways. And as these photos taken that same day show, repair patches everywhere.
One right, clear for takeoff.
Also notice the ponding of water on the taxiways and the apron outside the normal wear line where airplanes' tires roll. There's extensive linear cracking called alligator cracking. Clear sign structural engineers say that the ground beneath SFO's runways and taxiways is settling at different rates and creating problems.
When you have heavy rain, those areas accumulate waters.
Dr. Manicher Sherzai is an assistant professor at Arizona State University School of Earth and Space Exploration.
SFO is sinking.
Dr. Sherzai led a team conducting a study for NASA which measured minute movements of the land around San Francisco Bay. Using satellite data, Sherzai found that the land under SFO is sinking at more than 5 millimeters a year, a significant drop geologically speaking. A drop so significant that more than half the runways could be underwater in a lifetime if something isn't done.
Large part of the runways are subsiding. Those differential movements result into horizontal stresses which open cracks.
We obtained runway maintenance records at SFO dating back to 2016. They showed several different instances of alligator cracking, including an emergency repair last June and another one in October. The records also show 7 more repeated repairs in places that had already been fixed once before. Indications, our experts say, that the ground continues to shift and sink.
That means the sub-base is starting to fall a little bit, and that is a little more extensive repair.
NBC Bay Area's aviation consultant, Mike McCarran, is a former operations supervisor with more than 22 years of experience at SFO.
Well, it's probably because the runways are built on fill. They extend out in the bay. You have the subsidence, you have the differential settling.
From your experience, does this impact flights?
Eventually it does, because you have to take a runway out of service and repave it. All airports have to go through and repave runways eventually. SFO, because they are on fill, is a little more problematic.
Several sources, both with commercial airlines and with federal safety oversight, say this sinking has become a bigger concern in the last 2 years or so. We discovered that last year there were 23 different work orders and 19 different runway closures for repairs. There's already been another closure to fix cracked seals and asphalt joints on runway 28 left this January. Our data team mapped every repair since 2016, and the evidence backs up our sources. Look at all the repairs clustered along runway 28 left, especially at the intersection of runway 1 right.
It's a battle of costs. What's the overall cost to do a permanent solution versus what the short-term turnaround on the maintenance?
With the help of flight tracking organization FlightAware, we also track delays and cancellations during some of these repairs. According to FlightAware data, during that one emergency repair of alligator cracking on runway 28 left back in June, there were 31 canceled flights into and out of SFO and at least 410 delays. In all, some runways or portions of a runway were closed down for repairs for a total of 90 days, 1 out of every 4 days of the year. During those days, FlightAware shows 1,100 canceled flights and another 13,000 delayed flights. Airport records show a total repair cost last year of $147,000.
We've always had to close runways for a period of time, and it's kind of the price of doing business.
Doug Yackel is Public Information Officer for San Francisco International.
Our ongoing runway maintenance program addresses those differences and that differential settling that we may see in the area. The other thing to remember is we periodically repave our runways, and every time we do it, we're actually heightening the level of our runways in comparison to the water line.
Yackel says the airport is completing environmental permitting and drawing up plans to build new seawalls to mitigate both rising sea levels and sinking land.
Our hope is maybe in about 5 years' time to actually begin physical construction activity such that about 10 years from now, that mid-century protection is already in place.
What's the risk here?
There's very little risk that a plane would be impacted. The biggest risk is that you have increased delays because you have increased maintenance.
Now, it bears repeating that closing runways for repairs is part of the normal process at all major airports. But our sources and the data confirms that this is a problem at SFO, and it's a problem that has become more apparent lately in the last 2 years. We looked at the data back to 2016 and found 66 work orders with a total repair cost of nearly $500,000. That's 2 dozen a year, and they are growing. There are more and more work orders because of this shifting land.
That's a lot, and it's not just the fog that's calling these delays.
It's not the fog, it's not the weather. A lot of it are these repairs.
Thank you. Good reporting, Stephen. If you have a story tip for Stephen Stock or anyone else in our investigative unit, give us a call. You see the numbers on your screen, 888-996-TIPS, or you can visit our website, NBCBayArea.com/investigations.
All right.